Hello.
Did you put the video on?
I know. What? Hi, Bill.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
Good. Are you representing the applicant?
Hi, all.
I am. Hi, Jonathan. Hi, Pamela.
Hi.
Hi. There's Bill.
How have you been, Dan?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Yeah, the same.
I'll be
Same.
glad when we were back in person instead of doing Zoom hearings, however.
I agree with you.
Although I think the folks here at the Wyomissing, Melissa and Michelle, have the system down pretty well.
We're trying.
Let's do a good job.
Thank you.
We had a hearing right before yours, and some pictures got sent at the last minute. Melissa was able to get them up and go through them pretty quickly, so
Good.
pretty good at moving with the flow.
Did Michelle ever find Robert? Dan?
I don't know. I mean, I thought I saw him on that last, at the end of that last meeting. He was back when we were rendering our decision, but I don't know.
He sent me an email and said he said they changed the configuration of their Zoom access. He could hear the meeting but was not able to communicate. It wasn't the mute issue. And I just sent him an email back that said, did you get the login for the 4 p.m. hearing? Try signing into that one. Worst case, you can dial in using the phone number and password and listen and speak. He said he has it, but it only says that I have to wait for the host to start the hearing, which, I mean, when he sent this, Melissa may not have started it yet. He said, I expect that eventually I will be able to get in and hear, but not be able to participate. We are calling our service provider to work out the problem. In the meantime, he's going to try and participate by phone.
Okay. Calling your service provider is always an interesting undertaking anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Golly.
That is a joyless task.
Yeah, that's for sure. Oh, there's a telephone. Is that when somebody calls in? Okay.
Yes, if you just see a phone number.
Can you guys hear me?
We
Yeah.
can, Bob.
Hey, at least now I can hear people. I did see you for a while, but we're having trouble. We put ourselves on a remote. We put our office on a remote server, and for some reason the Zoom's not working like it should. So I can't get into right now. I put in everything into the meeting, but it just says that I have to wait for the host to release me into the meeting, but it's not doing it.
We actually didn't want to see you anyway.
Well, gee, thank you, David. I feel so terrible. You feel so helpless when you're trying to get into these things, and
Oh, I know.
nothing's happening.
Yeah. Fortunately, we don't do that much of it. So. I got all dressed up. I'm wearing a tux. I got a haircut for this meeting. I was so anxious for this meeting. Yeah, you don't lie very well.
Oh, by the way, I agree with what you did for the last time.
Okay, all right, yeah.
I did hear it.
You did hear it, yeah.
I did hear it, yes.
Yeah, they're just doing what every other person on that block's done before, so.
Oh, I can hear.
Yeah. Oh, I heard somebody else.
I don't know who that is. We still need
Yeah.
Najla.
How do I get the video to come up though? So you see my beautiful face? I guess not.
Well, you're on.
Okay.
Your beautiful
Steve.
face is not there, but your
Yeah.
audio is.
Steve, if you put your cursor at the
Okay, I'm gonna
lower,
hang up.
if you put your cursor at the lower left part of the screen, there's
Yes.
a mute button and a stop video that should have a red line through it. If you click on that video camera, your
Okay.
image should appear.
Assuming your device has a camera.
Does.
And if you're talking to me, mine does.
And it doesn't have, and it's not blocked.
You're viewing.
There you are, Steve. We see you.
I am.
All right.
Thanks.
Hello.
Okay, we're waiting for one more zoning board member
Okay.
who we know is around because we saw her a few minutes ago.
She's on.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah,
Oh,
Najla,
there you go.
I'm
Now you're
on. Where's Bob?
I'm on the phone.
Bob's on the phone.
Okay, Bob.
He's still back in the 1960s. He's only got a dial-up phone.
Hey, you know, don't say anything negative about the 60s. They were nice times.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have to wear face masks. That's for
Yeah.
The
all right.
only thing we had to worry about was Vietnam.
Yeah, that's true. Dan, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then let's call the meeting of the Wyomissing Zoning Hearing Board to order. We're here today to hear from Mr. William Colby on behalf of his clients, Jonathan Primek and Pamela Sharondoff.
Yep.
All right, I got that close enough. Owners of a property located at 1011 Reading Boulevard who are requesting a variance from section 404 area yard and height regulations from the Borough of Wyomissing zoning ordinance. The property is located in the R1 low density residential district. It is currently developed with a single family home with a swimming pool and landscaped area in the northeast corner of the lot. The required side yard setback in the R1 zoning district is 15 feet. The applicant intends to construct a 208 square foot pergola between the existing swimming pool and the eastern property line. The pergola will be located 8 feet from the eastern side property line, encroaching 7 feet into the required side yard setback. The pergola will conform with all other requirements of the zoning ordinance related to accessory structure use and building coverage. Okay, usually I introduce people, but we all have our names in front of us, so I don't even have to do that. So Mr. Becker, would you explain how we're going to proceed today?
Yes, sir. So it's a little unusual because we're doing it by Zoom, but we can make this all work pretty easily, I think. Today, the applicants, it's your burden of proof to establish why the relief that you're requesting should be granted. I understand that you have attorney Bill Colby here representing you today, and he'll assist with you in the presentation of your testimony and evidence. At the conclusion of each of your witnesses, the board members and members of the public that are present will have the opportunity to ask questions. After all the evidence has been presented, the board will take a brief recess, go into an executive session, and consider your application. Typically, the board will come back and render an oral decision today, and then it will render the written decision within 45 days. Do you have any questions about how we're going to proceed this afternoon?
I do not.
Good.
All right. Mr. Chairman, is there anything further before we allow the applicant to proceed?
No, we'll let Mr. Colby proceed first by swearing his witnesses, and let's swear Michelle Bear at the same time.
And let me ask you this also, Mr. Colby. Are there going to be any other witnesses other than your clients?
There will be two witnesses. Dr. Primak will be one, and our consultant, Stephen Whitford, will be the other.
Okay, great. And then we'll do Michelle at the same time. So to the stenographer, you can swear all three in at the same time.
Raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do, yes.
Okay, Mr. Colby, it's up to you.
Okay, thank you and good afternoon. My name is Bill Colby and I am an attorney with Barley Snyder. I represent the applicants, Dr. Jonathan Premack and his wife, Pamela Cherendoff. The applicants own property situated at 1011 Reading Boulevard in the borough of Wyomissing. The applicants are making improvements to their backyard area. One of the improvements is a pergola, which will encroach approximately 7 feet into the side yard setback on the northeast side of the property. Consequently, we're asking for a variance from section 404 of the Wyomissing Borough Zoning Ordinance to allow us to construct a pergola. We submitted 3 exhibits with our application. The 3 exhibits are the current conditions plan at the property, a zoning plan for the property, and a no objection letter from the neighbor. I will call 2 witnesses this afternoon. One will be Dr. Premack. The second will be our consultant, Stephen Whitford. So at this time, I'd like to call Dr. Premack.
Sure.
All right. Doctor, are you the owner of property situated at 1011 Reading Boulevard, Wyomissing Borough?
Yes, I am.
And you own the property with your wife, Pamela Cherendoff?
That is correct.
And you are presently making improvements to your backyard area?
Yes,
And those improvements include a pergola?
yes,
And the pergola, as proposed, encroaches approximately 7 feet into the side yard. Is that correct?
yes.
And that's the northeast side of your property. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay. Now, since the application, have you had an opportunity to talk to the neighbor most affected by the location of the pergola?
Yes, I had an opportunity to speak with Stephanie Rawdon a number of weeks ago.
And what was the content of that conversation?
Well, I explained to her that Pam and I were going to plan to build a pergola on the part of our property adjacent to our pool. And for various reasons, the location of it would encroach somewhat on the 15-foot setback that separates our property from the fence line. So I went and asked Stephanie, would that be an issue for her, or does she have any concerns with that? And she expressed to me that it was fine with her. Specifically, she had said that that part of the property is all the way away from the living quarters and where they basically spend their time. It's actually on the other side of their garage where they really don't go. In fact, they had just relocated a electrical utility box to that area as well, adjacent to their garage. But the basic message that she gave to me was that it was fine with her, and she was kind enough to also provide a signed letter saying as much.
And Dr. Premack, is that the letter that was part of the application that was submitted to the zoning hearing board?
Yes, it was.
And that letter basically states that she has no objection to the location of the pergola. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Bill, while we have that part of the application, I just want to mark these as we're going through. So we'll mark that as A1.
Fine, that's fine. We'll mark the letter from Stephanie A. Rowden as applicant's exhibit A1. At this time, I have no additional questions for Dr. Premack.
Thank you.
Any questions from members of the board?
No?
Okay. I have one, and it may be in the purview of your consultant who's going to answer it. You have a little over an acre of property, and yet you want to use 7 feet in a side yard setback.
Right.
Well, let's do.
Well, our consultant is going to address those issues.
Okay.
He's going to talk specifically about the topography of the backyard and the boundary line of the property on the northeast side. And he will provide reasons why we are locating the pergola in that location.
Okay, great.
So next I'm calling our consultant, Mr. Whitford, who has been involved in the design of the improvements to the property's backyard. Mr. Whitford, please state your full name.
My name is Stephen Foster Whitford. I'm the owner of Whitford Design Group LLC. My office is a home office, and I'm in 791 Davis Drive in Shillington.
Mr. Whitford, have you been engaged by the applicants to perform certain services with respect to improvements in the applicant's backyard?
Yes, there's already an existing well-landscaped area back there, consisting of a small covered porch, a pool, concrete pavers, a large area down at the house level, but then the pool has also a large area of concrete pavers, and the pool area is approximately 24 inches higher in elevation than the house area. So they had expressed to me the desire to add some sort of screened-in porch area so that they could come off of their kitchen, enjoy this nice area back there that they already have established. But then also that the screen-in porch would serve as a function of, you know, family gatherings, being able to bring food in and out from the inside out to the outside, but also be a screened-in area that, you know, they don't get attacked by the bugs. And then the other part of that backyard environment is the pool itself. And like I said, that area is actually a little bit removed from the patio near the house, and it's also elevated a little bit. And Pamela described the desire to have a space out there that she could sit in and, you know, be a part of the pool activities, be able to view the pool and everything that's going on. And we decided that the pergola should be up at the pool area and not landscape element down at the, you know, at the house area. Also, when you come in the front door, the center of the house opens up to this rear area. And if the pergola was shifted any further to the northwest, you would really be looking at it 24/7, including in the winter time. So we decided to put it up at the pool area so that it could be used for the function of adding a little bit more space up there for her to sit. And then we have designed some screenings as far as like curtains that might keep the bugs out a little bit. But the idea of this is just an open air structure that gives her a little bit more of a architectural element to sit there.
Mr. Whitford, could you explain to everyone what exactly a pergola is? Can you tell us?
I would describe a pergola as pretty much a landscape element. It's an architecturally significant landscape element that does not have a roof typically. It has sculpted rafters and also cross purlins to provide some shade as the sun tracks across the sky and it shines down on the beams. It provides some shading for the person who sits under it, depending on the angle of the sun. But it also provides sort of a visual interest for the yard, and also relates possibly to some other structures. So we have a privacy fence that we're also constructing that'll kind of key in with the pergola. But The pergola is an open air structure. It has 4 columns, 4 round columns, and then basically just some rafters on the top and some beams. So it's not a visually impairing structure. It's actually more open than not.
How high is the pergola? What is the height of the pergola?
The pergola, as I described it, is has 4 columns. Those are 8 foot tall, and then you have 2 cross beams, which gives it a total height to the very top of the top beam, a little over 10 feet, 10 foot 5 inches.
And you mentioned a privacy fence. Could you describe that and explain where that will be located?
The privacy fence is located on the site plan that you have on the screen right now. It would be between what would be the pavers of the pool and the garage of the neighbor's house. Not entirely the whole distance there, but a section of like 20 feet. And then another small one behind the pergola, just so that it's a visual screening that's not solid. It basically has a wood slat look to it and has some openings. It's kind of like a feng shui kind of a thing. And the desire for that was to give the owners a sense of privacy from people that walk their dogs on Reading Boulevard and also up Garfield Avenue. That seems to be the corner where everybody walks their dog, and the owner felt like she would like a little bit of privacy, just visual privacy. Still, again, it allows air to go through. It's basically wood slats, 6 foot tall, and it would be placed in front of the actual pool fence, be located along the property line.
We've discussed the pergola and we've discussed the privacy fence. What led you to locate the pergola in the area that it is proposed, in the area proposed? What is unique about this property that sort of led you to the location?
The desire to split the difference between Pamela being associated or being in the pergola area and then other people being over in the screen-in porch. We didn't want to put it up where the current landscaping is in the north part of the property, because it would be just too far away from everything. If she would like to, read a book or just bring anything out there, she would have to walk all the way around the pool and be basically not part of the whole party or the conversation going on. And if it was any closer to the house, her master bedroom would be looking at it, her main living space would be looking at it. So again, it's a see-through structure, but then in the wintertime, we kind of wanted to tuck it over as far over to the right as we could. It actually occupies some of the existing concrete pavers that are around the pool. So it's really only adding half of its dimension to kind of a hard surfacing area. The other desire was to have it up at the pool area so that she could sit up there with a few friends and just sit there, and while the kids were hanging out at the pool, they could hang out up there and not be just, sitting out in the outside area. The problem with putting it any closer to any of the other areas, it's kind of a unique area up at the pool that I feel as though it was built up because it seems like it's not natural, because there are boulders all along between the paving area, which is the driveway, and the pool. And then there's also boulders that align the whole thing. So in order to feel like you're up at the pool, it would have to be up at that upper area. It couldn't be down any further below, because you'd be down at the lower landscaping area.
Could you describe the topography of the backyard?
Yeah, I did a little investigation of that. The property itself is 50,416 square feet. which is 1.157 acres. I estimated that there's roughly 10,000 of that square feet in the northwest area of this, basically the whole back half of the site drops off tremendously. So that's 10,000 square feet is actually a fifth of the site. And because of the increased setback of the house from Reading Boulevard, in order to preserve that, beautiful old style of along Reading Boulevard where all the houses are set back, it really kind of creates only a little bit of a zone there where they could actually use the landscaping, because it drops off so dramatically all the way down to their neighbor's house, which are like Glenn and Rita White. That would be like the northwest edge. So that whole area, they don't use it. They don't even mow the grass because it's just too steep. So that, to answer David's question, that would be the reason why, if we were going to put a pergola there and we were going to place it somewhere, that was really the only spot we were left with.
So there's uniqueness with the topography of the property in the far back that prevents you from developing or improving that area. Is that correct?
That's correct. The other issue we have is that there's not permitted to be a driveway coming off of Reading Boulevard. So some of the houses on Reading Boulevard have detached garages, and that's in an effort to, again, preserve the vista as we travel down Reading Boulevard. So they wound up with a garage in the back. And so that large paving area, that actually took up a great deal of their backyard. And it was in an effort to, I would imagine, to preserve, again, that Reading Boulevard vista. So if within the 50,000 square feet, you're starting to limit yourself just because of the way that the uniqueness of this site being on Reading Boulevard and the house being set back so far. And then again, the garage being in the back as a desirable effect of not having driveways on the Reading Boulevard, they effectively lost a good portion of their usable part that's flat in their backyard.
Mr. Whitford, the northeast boundary line of the applicant's property, that's unique also, isn't it?
It is. It seems to be an attempt when they subdivided this off of the Rowden's property, an attempt to create, and the garage shows up on this site plan, an attempt to create a buffer zone around that garage between the two neighbors. Unfortunately, that is the area in contention, and it actually created an area that would have been used to preserve more of the backyard and less of the desirable area, which is up in the northern part. So we effectively lost 25 feet by the notch there. So that created sort of a hardship as far as meeting the 15-foot setback line, and then also placing a pergola out of the viewpoint from within inside the house.
So if the property line on the northeast side of the property went straight back and didn't jog to the left as it's shown on the plan, we would not have an issue with the setback and the location of the pergola. Is that correct?
We would be 33 feet from the property line. That's correct.
Okay. So the unique topography, the unique shape of the property have really forced you to locate the pergola in the proposed location. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. If the variance is granted, allowing for the encroachment into the side yard setback, do you believe it would have any effect on the neighboring properties?
I do not. the level of the pergola will sit exactly at the paver level of the pool itself. And as I stated before, it actually comes onto the existing pavers like at least a third of the pergola. So adding a little bit more up there would not be a large change at all. There is existing landscaping in that area as well, and the hill comes down to basically fills in that whole area where the pergola is currently. And so there's an upper area there to currently that would not be noticeable, as well as the fact that the pergola is a see-through structure and it's more of a landscape structure. There is also existing arborvitaes that go along that side as a screening, so they wouldn't even really know it's there.
And the neighbor's property at that location, that's really a garage? That's a garage area, parking area?
That's correct. The paving area is in front of the garage. There are several balconies that come out of that garage, and the garage is situated such that it's kind of built into the hill. So when you're at the pool level, you're actually staring across over at kind of halfway up into the second floor of that garage. So anybody that's really walking around there, and the owners have already described that they don't even really use that area, they're actually lower than what we're talking about, because the hill kind of notches down there. It's got its own sort of topography there. So again, it really doesn't affect anything as far as change goes, having a pergola there, because there already exists arborvitaes, and it also is just a see-through structure in a sense.
So if the variance was granted, it would not have any impact on the use of the adjacent property.
Not from the standpoint of that's not a living area of that property, and nor will it ever be because of the garage, the current garage situation.
And if the variance was granted, is there any type of detriment to the public welfare, any negative impact of the pergola encroaching into the side yard setback?
No, because there's really no significant grade change in that area. It's also up at the upper level, so there's really no site water runoff issues. There's no visual issues. It is in their backyard. It's very hard to see this from any of the streets, along with the privacy fencing. So no, I do not believe so.
So based on the topography of the property, unique boundary line, and the fact that pergola won't affect the property owner, the adjacent property owner, you determined that this was the best location for the pergola?
Yes, I do. For the desired effect that the owner would like to use the pergola up at the pool area, there's really no other spot for it.
And the hardship that the applicant has with respect to the location of the pergola is the unique topography in the backyard, and the unique lot line. Is that correct?
That's correct. In an effort to minimize all of this, I did place the pergola on a 45-degree angle. So technically the corner of the pergola is the only object closest to the property line encroaching. And then most of the pergola is within the setback line. So there's just a small corner of it, as opposed to if it was square to the property line, you would have the full impact of the 8-foot setback encroachment.
So in your design, you've taken into consideration or made all efforts to to reduce any impact on the adjacent property. Is that correct?
That's correct. By minimizing any impact of landscaping, added grade changes, and also just the see-through nature of the pergola itself, I just think lends itself to a structure that will not be noticed as much or have an impact.
And just so everyone understands, the encroachment would be 7 feet into the side yard setback. Is that correct?
That's correct. The setback is 15 feet on that side, and it basically follows the jog. And so as the southeast property line comes up, the 130 feet is 15 foot. It's still considered a setback, a side yard setback for the 25-foot jog. And then a 15-foot setback continues the side yard setback. We are located 8 foot to the corner, which would be a 7-foot encroachment.
Thank you. I don't have any additional questions for Mr. Whitford at this time.
Excuse me, are there any questions from the board?
I don't. Nope.
Mr. Becker?
No, sir.
Wow, that's unusual.
Bill did a thorough job.
Yeah, he did do a thorough job. I think we all understand, and it is a unique piece of property. I think we have one member of the public here. Any comment?
Yes, just a small one. I think I know the property is a very nice house. Congratulations. I think that a rendering, a 3D rendering or pictures would have helped a lot better making the case here because the grading and all the elevations cannot be seen on a 2D drawing, and it's really hard to determine the case for that pergola at that point. I think that just a 2D drawing is too little for that, but that's my opinion. Other than that, I understand the point, and I support their application.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Becker, you have some legal stuff to do.
I do, and I believe Michelle has been sworn in, so I'd call her as a witness.
Yes.
Michelle, in your capacity as the zoning officer for the Borough of Wyomissing, what are your duties and responsibilities?
I prepared a memo to the zoning hearing board, which Melissa has on the screen, dated July 31st of 2020, summarizing the application and the relief requested.
All right, I'll mark those as board exhibit number 1. Michelle, in your capacity as zoning officer, do you have any other information for the zoning hearing board today?
I do not.
Okay. In your capacity as the secretary for the zoning hearing board, what are your duties and responsibilities?
I prepared a public notice that was advertised in the Reading Eagle on August 12th and August 19th of 2020. That same notice was posted at the subject property on August 3rd at approximately 11 a.m. and was mailed to all adjacent property owners within 300 feet on July 31st of 2020 at approximately 8:30 a.m.
All right, we'll mark those as board exhibit number 2 collectively. Michelle, as the secretary for the zoning hearing board, do you have any other information that you'd like to provide to the zoning hearing board for its consideration?
I do not.
All right. At this point in time, also for Mr. Colby, I'd like to mark those other 2, even though they were part of the application, I'd like to mark the existing conditions plan as A2 and the one that's on the screen now, which is the proposed conditions plan, or one showing the pergola, as A3.
That's fine.
Okay. At this point, I would suggest that we move for all exhibits to be moved into evidence. Mr. Colby, do you have any objections to the board exhibits?
I do not.
Okay. And board members, do you have any objections to those other 3 exhibits that were presented?
No.
No.
Then we will move those into evidence as well. At this point in time, Mr. Chairman, we turn it back over to you, and I believe we're ready to go into deliberations.
Unless Mr. Colby has anything he would like to add before we do.
I do not. Thank you.
Okay, then we will go into...
Before you go into executive session, I won't be able to participate in that.
Wow. Okay.
I only have the phone number for this one.
Bob,
I-
the phone number should have been at the bottom for the second one, but I'll resend it to you.
Okay. For
All
the
right.
executive session?
Yes.
Okay. It is 4:34. We will reconvene at how about 4:55. Does that work?
Sounds good.
Fine.
Okay. We will see you then. Okay, we're back. So much easier to walk in and out of a room instead of this stupid stuff.
Yeah,
I tell you.
I've got my fair share of these as well.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
You're a physician?
Yeah, I'm an ophthalmologist. Yeah, so I work over at the Granite Point Building on State Hill Road.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I just had Hagerseth did some laser surgery on my
Oh, sure.
eyes. So I actually have to see him on Monday morning. He was one of the doctors I'm complaining about that I have to prove that I was not out of the country and I have to re-enter on my passport.
Yeah, Dr. Nagashet's a good guy. He's one of my partners. Very, very good doctor.
Yeah, I've been going to you guys so long that over there that I think all the original partners that I knew are dead.
Oh my goodness.
Well, some of them are still kicking, I can tell you.
Yeah, God. But yeah, Zobian and John Beam and
Yeah.
Sydney did macular stuff for me.
Right, that was her dad. She's the ER doctor. Their daughter.
Oh, Shelley Kaplan.
Yeah, Shelley
Yes,
Kaplan.
yeah, Shelley Captain. Yeah,
Right, right.
Shelley. Yeah. Right. He was a good guy too. He saved my butt big
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Detached retina.
Oh boy, yeah,
Wow.
that's a serious diagnosis.
Yeah. Good guy. Are we all back?
I'm back.
Please.
Bob's back. All right. We'll call the meeting of the Wyomissing Zoning Board back to order. Is Dan here?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I move that we grant the request of William Colby on behalf of Jonathan Pramack and Pamela Cherendoff, owners of the property located at 1011 Reading Boulevard, for a variance from section 404 area yard and height regulations from the Borough of Wyomissing zoning ordinance in order to construct a pergola, which will encroach 7 feet into the side yard setback or 8 feet from the eastern property line, subject to the conditions to be placed on the record by our solicitor.
And those conditions are as follows: that you'll comply with all testimony that's been provided today, that you comply with all rules, regulations, laws, ordinances that are in effect to impact the property, that you obtain and pay for all permits that you need for the work to be done in the property, and that you will implement your requested relief within 1 year from the date of the written decision.
Is there a second to the motion?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Guess not. There wasn't any of us left. The motion carries. The relief is granted, and you're not much summer left for pergola, but you can work on it for next year.
Well, thank you very much. We
Thank
very
you.
much appreciate the opportunity to present this to the board, and we appreciate your time. Thank you.
You're
Thank
quite
you.
welcome.
Good luck.
All right. I guess the meeting is adjourned. And Michelle, do we have anything else coming up soon? We lost Michelle. That's all right.
She's muted. She just
No, I'm
there you go.
here. There, as of now, I have nothing pending. Typically, I jinx myself when I say that and an application lands on my desk the next day. So
Okay.
I'll let you know if anything comes in.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
See you all soon. All
Okay.
Yep. Goodbye now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice talking to you guys.
right.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.